Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Serena, if you guys are new here, and I don't know why it was a little weird. Welcome to my January wrap up and February TBR. I decided to combine these. I've been doing them separate because the TBRs are looking a little light, but there's a good reason. And the wrap up is a little light, but again, it'll make sense. So that's why I wanted to put them together, so that way we can just chat all things books. So in January, let me just pull up my stats. I don't know why I didn't do this before I started. In January, I read a total of 6 books. This number is like, it's low, and it actually should be lower. I just haven't decided whether books that I started in December carry over to January, because I was at like the 50% mark in 2 of them. So I kind of just carried them over. It really should be like 4 books that I read in, no, yeah, 4 books that I read in January. But according to Goodreads and Storygraph, they both calculated it this way. I actually read 6. So we're just gonna go with that and go with 6. We're gonna go in timeline order because that's how I wanna do this. I started off the year finishing 2 books that I started very late in December. And these 2 books were Booked for the Holidays by Chelsea Curto and Kiss the Sky by Krista and Becca Ritchie. I think I finished this one first. This, the perfect holiday Christmas book in a nutshell for bookish people. I thought everything in this book was fantastic. Bridget, I almost wanted to call her Josephine, but Chelsea has a different character named Josephine in a different book. That's why I got it confused. So Bridget runs a bookstore, and it's a bookstore coffee shop, literally like my dream. And she has a next door neighbor who runs a hardware business. What's his name? Theo. And Theo comes and gets a coffee every single day at like 7:03 or 8:03, something along those lines. And he one day comes early and is like, oh, you're late, but turns out he's actually early. And then there's this whole Christmas like small town Main Street competition to see who can decorate the best, and these 2 get paired up, even though he is the definition of a Scrooge and she loves like the festivities and the holidays and the traditions and all that. So by working together, they realize they have feelings for each other. And I was just obsessed with this book. I actually started it, I want to say it was actually like well after Christmas, maybe like the 28th, 29th, and loved it. Loved it, loved it, loved it. 5 stars, no complaints from me. It probably about 400 pages. I always like to tell you guys the page count just in case, like, I don't know. 379? 380? Yeah, 380 pages. And I read this on my Kindle actually. And I don't know why I have these tabs here. I think I actually like started it maybe like last Christmas, so not 23 but 22, and then was not in a Christmas mood anymore, but read it this past Christmas and absolutely ate this up. 5 stars, highly recommend. She's got a whole bunch of other books that are coming out. Something with a camera lens, like behind the scenes, behind the camera. I don't know. If I'll find her post and I'll put it here so that you guys can refer to it. But I also read An Unexpected Paradise by her, and I think it's in one of my videos from a while ago. That one was also phenomenal. So highly recommend you pick this up for next Christmas, or you pick up another book by her. She's got so many out there, and I think she's doing sports romance too. So I'm gonna have to check those out because I love a good sports romance. The next one that I started and finished was Kiss the Sky. This is book 4. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, this is book 4 in, I have the series like way up there. That's why I'm looking up there. Book 4 in the Addicted Calorie Sister series, which I recently found out is not 10 books. It's actually 12 books. But nobody talks about 2 of the books. So I'm gonna have to do some research on that. But this one specifically follows Rose and Connor. So we learn a lot about the two of them in this book. They're the front and center of attention in this book. We still see glimpses of Lily and Lo, which I really enjoyed, but they weren't in the spotlight. Well, like they kind of were, but it's mostly Connor and Rose. I think this is top 3. It wasn't my favorite in the series so far, just because I got so attached to Lily and Lo since their story was literally the first 3 books. So now that we're getting a change of pace, it was kind of like, okay, like kind of miss reading about them, but this was still phenomenal. I love Connor as one of the main characters. I'm excited to even learn more about him and Rose and their on and off future together, and just the whole, like, Calloway sisters as a whole. Very invested in this series. I feel like I can't tell you much about it because I feel like I read it so long ago. It feels like January was like 1800 years long, honestly. So yeah, and this is another one. I started to tab it and then I was listening to the audiobook. I don't think I got this on my Kindle. I think it was strictly the audiobook. And then I just like wrapped it up and never went back to tabbing it. So yeah, that's right, because I was away at the beginning of January and didn't bring that with me and just listened to the audio of that. Next, what did I read next? That's a great, oh yes, okay. The next 2 books that I read, and I'm gonna go through them together because they go together. I read All In, hold on, All In and Bad Blood, and I've been putting these off for so long because I couldn't even tell you why, honestly. They are so good. The series as a whole was phenomenal. Each book was 5 stars. Kept me on my toes, kept me guessing. I literally couldn't tell you what twist was going to happen next. Like, I couldn't predict it. And it just blew me away. Honestly, I think the only reason why I stopped reading these is because, like, other higher priority books came up. But then I started kicking myself, especially with this one, when I was like, why did I wait so long to read it? I should have read it sooner. Yeah, both of these, plus the 2 other books in the series, so good, so good. If you're like, what series is she talking about? Like, why is she flailing these books around? This is a 4-book series. It's called The Naturals. So you have The Naturals, then Killer Instinct, and then All In, and then Bad Blood. It is about these group of kids who are part of what's called the Naturals program, and it's like a subsect of the FBI, and they're using their like natural, they call them like natural instincts, but these above and beyond calculations and like inferences and ways of seeing things to profile people, to solve cases. They're using those talents to solve cold cases. And eventually they get put on not cold cases, and each case has a very important significance. And that's all I'm gonna say there. So, highly recommend also listening to these. I thought the narrator was phenomenal, and I think that's also why I am obsessed, because like I did read the first one, but the audio for them, it adds so much to the story. So highly recommend if you can get your hands on the audio. Libby has all of them. And if your library is part of Libby's program, put these on your list, please. Thank you. The last book that I read in January, finished it February 1st, Crescent City. This is why the TBR, I mean not the TBR, this is why the red pile is so low. I consider this 3 books. This was 805 pages. I started this on the 23rd, I think, or 24th, finished it February 1st, so it took me about 10 days to read this, and I also had the audiobook, so I would go back and forth with it, or I would like listen to the audiobook and physically turn the pages as I was going through it. 5 stars. It was so good. So good. And if you're watching this and you haven't seen my reading vlog for this book, I'm going to put a little card up here or over here somewhere. Please do yourself a favor and watch that and watch my reactions to reading this and what my thoughts were, because I talk about it extensively there. But all I'm gonna say about this is that it should be the highest thing on your TBR. If you've read anything by Sarah J Maas, this one, for me personally, a favorite. Like, I loved ACOTAR. I like Throne of Glass right now, but we're gonna get into that. I'm not done with that series yet, actually, and I've already started this because this is just more exciting to me, honestly. It's a newer world, it's newer technologies, and they're more modernized, and it's easier for me personally to understand and picture in my head what's going on in this one versus what's going on in Throne of Glass. So I can't say enough great things about this book. And normally I'm pretty picky when a book is this thick because I look for like, and it's just more of a personal thing. It's not anything on the writer, but I feel like when a book gets to be like 700, not even like 500 pages, 600 pages, 700 pages, there could be a lot of fluff. And I have seen that with a particular series that I'm thinking about. There is literally no fluff in here. If you were to trim anything out of this book, we would have been lost in the plot. So it was all justified. It was all warranted. If you're looking for an emotional roller coaster, here's your book. And honestly, people have said time and time again to me, just get through the first 100 pages. Just get through the world building. Like, once you get past that point, this is phenomenal. But I love the first 100 pages. I didn't find the world building hard. If I had to refer back to the map, I referred back to the map. I was just so sucked in by the plot alone that it didn't bother me. So I guess I will say that I did read the first like 50 pages in one sitting. So if you can do that, maybe that would help you. And maybe that's what people are referring to. Like, don't just read 2 pages and stop and then start and then stop and then start again. Try to get good chunks of this done, because there are low points and there are like kind of boring points, but it makes sense. Like, you needed those to build up to the bigger things going on. So please read this. Please, if you haven't already done so. I feel like I'm one of the last people to read it. I know I'm not. I know there's other people out there that haven't read it or won't be reading it. So if you are in a market for a Sarah J Maas book, I still recommend this one. Please do yourself a favor and read this one. So, I say so many times in these videos. I have to stop doing that, but it's a transition word for me. I am going to take a sip of coffee. I just made one, and I just feel like I spewed all that information out in 13 minutes, it looks like. So I have a coffee. I'm using my In My Reading Era cup from my shop, and this is the 20-ounce cup. And as always, Nespresso pod, I use the Bianco Forte, and when you brew it, make sure there's milk in your cup, and then I just do it all over ice and I add sugar. So cheers. I need a little break because I just rambled and rambled and rambled. Now, let's get into the February TBR. It's looking a little light. Oh, I forgot one of the books. Darn it. Oh, is it in here? I have like my bag next to me. We can use this. It's on here anyway. So the February TBR is looking a little light, but if I can finish all of these, mainly it's just books that I've started and haven't finished because of Crescent City, I will be very impressed and very proud of myself, because I'll probably rack in 1,000, 2,000, no, am I doing math? Is the math mathing? I don't know how many pages I'll rack in, but it's gonna be a lot. It's going to probably be well over 2,000 pages, which is a lot for me. So, I don't know, maybe it's not a lot. I don't know. Anyway, the first book that I am currently in the middle of, that I've been reading for the past month, and it's not even that it's bad. It's a great book, but I've just had other things that I'm reading instead. By a Thread by Lucy Score. And Taryn, if you're watching this, I will get back to this. She recommended this book to me a while ago, and it's one of her favorites by Lucy Score, and I have been loving every single second of it, but because of Crescent City, and basically just because of Crescent City, this has been on the back burner. And this one is about, now I have to like really get the brain back. Dominic and Allie. So Allie has to work several different jobs, and she has a job at a pizza place, and Dominic goes in, but there's a strict like no phone policy in this restaurant. Dominic walks in on his phone and he's like talking on the phone, ignoring the sign that says no phones allowed. So Allie tells him like, hey, you know, look at the sign, hello. And then he goes and like sits with his mom. They have some banter back and forth, and he's just really rude to her because he thinks that like she was rude to him, telling him to get off the phone. He's like, no, I'm on business, whatever. So then he gets her fired from her job. And then time goes by, she leaves, and she's all like bummed out because she just got fired and she doesn't know how she's gonna pay her bills. But then her mom, not her mom, Dominic's mom comes running in, running down the block and offers her a job. And Allie's like, okay, sure. So she goes to meet, what's her name? Delisandra at her job, which turns out to be a fashion magazine or fashion label. Fashion magazine called Label. Yes, the brain is working. It's coming back. And it turns out that her son, who got Allie fired, is the creative director at this company. So workplace romance, forced proximity. The front cover says a grumpy boss romantic comedy, which makes me laugh every single time I read it. It's so good. I should have really been tabbing it. I think I'm highlighting in my Kindle because it's also on Kindle Unlimited. Yeah, I think I am highlighting. So I have to go back and put tabs all through here because I know I have a lot of highlights. Oh, I didn't give you guys star predictions because I haven't gotten there yet. See, my brain is just like all over the place right now, but I wanted to, I think it's just the coffee kicking in and going like 800 miles an hour. So my star prediction is going to be 5 stars for this. I have no doubts in my mind because I've already read almost half of it and have loved the first half of it. So I just need to get back into the second half, and I think maybe next week I'll get back into this and just wrap it up because it really shouldn't take long. It should take a day, like a day and a half, maybe 2 days to finish this one. Next on my list of books that I have started and not finished because of Crescent City, Daisy Hates. Apparently that's, I should probably like cover the cover. Daisy Hates. I am not going to show the cover just because I don't want to potentially get flagged. So we'll look at the back side of it with the daisies on it. This is The Great Undoing, and I started the audio and not realizing that they have some strong accents in the audio because it's like a full production audio. Had to slow that one down majorly because you get British, you get Australian, and it's just hard for my brain to keep up. I do love the fact that it's narrated that way. I just got so used to reading these books and not listening to them that now my perception of how I pictured them is a little skewed. So we'll see how the audio goes. I might just switch back to the physical book and just kind of like keep reading that. But I'm trying to get it done before the 14th or 13th because that is when the next Magnolia Parks comes out. And I don't think there's going to be references to this one in that one. But you never know. Sometimes Magnolia pops up in Daisy Hades or Hates, however you pronounce it. And sometimes Daisy pops up in the Magnolia Parks book. So I just want to make sure I'm like up to speed on that. I think this is also going to be 5 stars because I have not rated a single Magnolia Daisy book less than that. But it could be. I don't know. I have no idea yet. But this series, again, this is another one that is like top tier. It's up on the top shelf. It gets its own little spot. I love this series so much. And if you haven't read it, it's not for everybody. I do love, like, in my books, not in real life. This is like Gossip Girl, toxic drama, the top 1%, elite, rich people drama, I guess you could say. I find it so entertaining and eat this up. Again, it's not for everyone. This is like a specific type of audience. So just putting it out there. Take with that what you may. I do recommend this series to a lot of people though, but I just put it out there that's saying like, if high society gossip is not your thing and high society drama is not your thing, this is not going to be for you. So take with that what you will. I just need to finish this ASAP before the next one gets here, which should be doable. Okay, the next 3 books on the topic of Crescent City and Sarah J. Maas. We have Empire Storm and Tower of Dawn. I was doing the tandem read for these 2, and I have a bit of beef with the tandem read because I don't think it's for me. And I think that's why it's taken me almost 4 months. Let's see, August, September, October, November, December, no, January, 6 months to even make some progress in these books. Like, I'm 75% through Empire Storm right now and about 65% through, I want to say, Tower of Dawn. I just think that the tandem read is a bit of a momentum killer, especially when at the time that I started these, audiobooks were my main source of like consuming books. So it was just kind of annoying, especially when you're in a car, to have to stop it, switch the audiobook, start that one. It just wasn't really for me. And it got kind of slow. Like, I know these 2 are dual timeline, but I think for me personally, I should have read Empire Storm completely through and then read Tower of Dawn completely through to then get over to Kingdom of Ash. So that's kind of like my beef with this tandem read right now, but my goal for February is to finish both of these, which should be doable. I mean, I have probably about 200 pages left, or maybe 150 pages left in Empire Storm, which should go quick. That's just like a day and a half for me. And then Tower of Dawn, I have a bit of a ways to go. I'm only on chapter 38, which is page 439, and I have to get to page 660. So there's about 200 pages in here. So really the 2 of these together are another book's length, and then I'll have 2 books that I'll finish. So that's exciting and that's good. I'm hoping to be able to rate these. I really don't remember what happened in the beginning, so if anybody has a good like summary, that would be phenomenal, because I don't really remember what happens in the beginning of this series all the way up to now. I'm kind of just starting fresh, so I should really watch a recap of these. The last book that I'll be starting, I don't know if I'll finish this month, is House of Sky and Breath, the second book in the Crescent City series. I have the Libby library book on my Kindle, which is why I can just show this and not show the actual physical book, because I don't know where the physical book is. I think it's like by my bed somewhere. I am nervous about this one. I think it's gonna be 5 stars. I have no doubt in my mind that it's gonna be less than 5 stars. I am just nervous, and I need to stop seeing spoilers. I need to stop. I see them everywhere. It's annoying. And I know the books have been out for a while. Like, the first Crescent City's been out for 4 years now, and House of Sky and Breath's been out for 2. But not all of us read books as soon as they come out. And not all of us are fantasy readers, like me. I would not consider myself a fantasy reader by any stretch of the imagination. But these might persuade me otherwise, because I really enjoyed these. So this one, I have no idea what's going to happen in here. All I know is that it's book 2. And that's it. I read like the first page and a half or 2 pages, and I knew none of the characters because none of them were in book 1. So I'm like, okay, I guess I gotta like figure this out now. Do I think I'm gonna finish this on top of these other 4 books? I don't know. I'm not really sure, but I'm gonna get as far as I can. And at the end of the month, we'll do a little recap and see how far I got. And that's that. So that's it. Oh, you know what? I think Magnolia Park's Into the Dark is going to end up on my TBR because I want to get to that ASAP. That's another one I don't want to see any spoilers for. I don't, because that series is like my baby. So 5 books, 6 books on the TBR for February. And these books are rather large, but at least Empire Storm and Tower of Dawn, like I've read most of them already. So it's not like I'm starting at page 0 or page 1. And I'm excited. Apparently Magnolia Park's Into the Dark is like almost 800 pages too. So, but I think I pre-ordered the audiobook for that, I think. I don't remember. Guess we'll find out next week. So that's it for the wrap up for January and the TBR for February. I'm excited about all these books that I'm reading, and I know everybody usually does romance for February because it's Valentine's Day and you want to get into like that spirit. I don't really have much of that. It's gonna be a lot of fantasy this month, so we're gonna do like a little fantasy February, and maybe I'll get to some arcs because I do have some arcs that I need to read. I just don't know about those yet, so that's why I'm not including them in the TBR and in the wrap up. So that's gonna be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you got some recommendations out of the books that I was able to recommend, and appreciated seeing what's on my TBR for next month, well technically this month. So yeah, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to have a great cup of coffee, which I am going to inhale as soon as I finish this video. And don't forget to have a great week if you're just starting your week, or have a great weekend if it's the end of your week, and do something fun for yourself. Do something for yourself. And I'll see you all in my next video. Bye!